Hey everyone, I just wanted to come on here and talk about my experience seeing Unleash the Archers as well as Lutharo and Paladin at Le Studio TD back on October 21st. I think the date was. Realized it's been a few weeks since that show happened. I'm recording this on the 5th. It's going to be uploaded on the 6th. But sometimes you just don't get the time to make these videos when you want to do them. That's just it, life be like that sometimes. So the show happened again at the Studio TD, and this was a very special occurrence for me because Unleash the Archers is a band who I am in love with, like musically. Uh, their last record, Abyss, is one of my favorite albums, probably of the decade. Like, I know we're only into 2023 yet, but so far there has been very little that has eclipsed that record. It is literally a perfect record in my estimation. So there was this time where I was gonna go see them. I think it was the holiday season of 2021, and they literally had played in Toronto the night before, um, and they were on their way to Montreal, and I was literally putting on my clothes, getting ready to go out and brave the winter to go see them at Fouf's. I'm pretty sure that's where they were playing, was at Fouf's, and they canceled the show last minute because some of their members and their crew got COVID. So obviously, totally a valid reason, but I was incredibly disappointed. I wanted to go see those songs from that record performed live, and it was just a big upset. But again, completely understandable as to why that show got canceled. So fast forward 2 years later, and finally, they're coming back. And not only are they coming back, but they're coming back with two really kick-ass bands. Now, I say that, but I wasn't really familiar with Lutharo beforehand. Didn't really know anything about them except that a friend of mine used to play drums for them, and currently does not anymore. And that they're also from Hamilton. The other band, Paladin, they were the opening act. They're from Atlanta, Georgia, and their guitarist, Alex, he also plays guitar in this black and thrash band called Sadistic Ritual, who some friends of mine opened for here in Montreal, and then they ended up crashing at our place after, and we hung out. Super cool group of guys, and he ended up telling me about Paladin that night. I listened to it, thought the record was great, so I was super excited to see them on the same bill as another power metal band that I was really excited to see. So Paladin got up, they fucking killed it. Unfortunately, their bassist couldn't make it across the border, which is always a shame when that happens. I mean, crossing the border, it's a nightmare. It fucking sucks. I hate it. And it always sucks when a band member can't get up and then they have to use like a backing track or something like that. But even in his absence, they still did a great job. Those two guys, they can fucking shred, man. Their guitars are crazy. I said this to them after the show. There's a lot of flavor of Children of Bodom in their guitar work. Like, the Alexi Laiho influence is very prominent in their work, even though like maybe it doesn't like stylistically sound a lot like Children of Bodom. The guitar work is still there, and it still sounds very influenced by stuff like that, stuff of that nature. So that was super cool. After them, it was Lutharo. Again, I had no preconception as to what this band sounded like, except for the fact that they're a power metal group. So I wasn't really sure what to expect beyond just, soaring melodies and great guitar riffs. And that's exactly what they delivered. They were fucking awesome. They were a really, really great band. I would absolutely go see them again. They really, really impressed me and won me over, and they made a fan of me that night. If I wasn't so broke, I definitely would have bought merch. And then after that, it was time for Unleash the Archers. Again, one of my favorite records so far in this decade will probably end up being on my best of list at the end of this decade. If not in the top spot, at least in the top 10 for sure. It is just unbelievably good. And it left a huge emotional impact on me to the point that when they actually walked out on stage, I literally cried. Um, Not to sound like I'm too invested in this band, but like, yeah, it was just a super emotional moment. It's rare that bands and music will affect me in that way, and I wasn't really sure if it would happen this time, but it did. The last time I remember this happening was when I got to see Mastodon for the very first time, which was one of the first shows I ever went to when I moved to Montreal, and I literally wept because it was just such a emotional moment, and that's what I felt this night. So I was very, very stoked to see them. Unfortunately, they did come out to a recorded version of the first track off of their new record, which is called Waking Dream. I was hoping that they would actually play that, because that's always a plus in my mind. I remember there are some bands who I've seen who will actually play like the intros and the outros, like at the Gates. When I saw them, they played the very last song on Slaughter of the Soul, which, you know, they were playing the whole record from front to back, and I expected them to just walk off while that song was playing, but no, they actually played it, guitar, noise, and all, and that's how they ended their set. So it's always cool when bands do that instead of just playing that track over the PA, but unfortunately, that's what Unleash the Archers chose to do. But, you know, it is what it is. You can't control that kind of thing in that environment as an audience member. But I will say that the rest of their set, oh my god, they fucking killed it. They played pretty much every song from Abyss that I wanted them to play, with the exception of Legacy. They didn't play Legacy, which I thought was a shame, because that's like really up there in terms of like my favorite songs on that record. They did also play Through Stars and Soulbound and The Wind That Shapes the Land. And the last song on the record was actually their encore. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, their performance was flawless. They did a lot of addressing to the crowd, you know, saying thank you for all the people who bought tickets to the first time they were supposed to come here, which also got canceled. And then the second time they were supposed to come here that got canceled, which is the one that I was supposed to go to. So it wasn't just that one that I was supposed to go to that got canceled. It was 2 times. The last 2 times they were supposed to be here didn't work out. So the crowd at this fucking venue, it was packed. I would not be shocked if that show had sold out, because it was packed to the gunnels. The only downside is there was one like really like roided out douchebag in the pit who was like really pissing me off, and a lot of other people too, and it kind of like, whenever that kind of thing happens, it always kind of ruins the experience, and I never would expect that at a power metal show. It seems like the kind of thing you'd expect at a hardcore show or like a deathcore show, something like that. Not really at power metal. Felt really weird. I usually feel like people who go to shows like that aren't really fans of the music. Maybe that's a bit of a hot take. I don't know. It never comes across to me in that way. It always comes across as someone who just wants to go to a metal show because it's metal and it's hardcore, bro. Like, I want to go, and I want to go in the pit and fuck people up. You know, it's that kind of vibe. But it was just one guy, you know. I'm not going to let one guy completely ruin a concert experience for me. Other than that, it was fucking incredible. I would 1000% go back to see Unleash the Archers again. They're one of the best bands in the power metal world right now. I fucking love them. I cannot wait to hear whatever record they put out next. I can't wait to see them again. Just all around fantastic musicians. So yeah, that was my experience seeing Unleash the Archers, as well as Lutharo and Paladin at Studio TD back in October. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.